Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching this pre-debate edition of The Factor. So here's what's going to happen in the next hour. First, we're going to go back out to Las Vegas, where Bret Baier and Megyn Kelly are standing by, and they'll report on all the excitement in the desert city. We have a new wrinkle now. Trump's doing some Facebook thing. You know, it just never ends here. Then, after Kelly and Baier, I will magically reappear before you with the Talking Points memo. That will be on the topics Chris Wallace has chosen for the debate in just about 1 hour from now. I'll run that down. Then Charles Krauthammer will appear and make fun of me, as he always does. After that, we'll continue with an excellent factor, including maybe a look at this Trump Facebook thing, which is par, right? It's par. So now let's kick it off. Joining us from Las Vegas, Bret Baier and Megyn Kelly. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Bill, thank you. Well, we're trying to get to the bottom of the Facebook Live event. It says, join my team. We don't know if
he just updated it.
He just updated?
This Donald Trump himself, I guess, has tweeted out, if you're tired of biased mainstream media reporting, otherwise known as Crooked Hillary Super PAC, tune into my Facebook Live broadcast. He says, mine starts at 8:30. You won't want to miss it. It's not clear. Could be mine as in my people.
Remember last debate, he brought out accusers of Bill Clinton, who various women who said that they had been sexually assaulted by Bill Clinton. There was also the woman who had been raped as a 12-year-old girl, and Hillary Clinton represented the rapist in that case, and the suspected rapist, and got him off. She talked about that.
She got a reduced her time served.
Right.
But he was the rapist. I mean, that was established.
That event kicked off that debate.
And then today, so we don't know who's going to be at this Facebook Live event with Trump at 8:30. But today, another woman came forward, Leslie Milwee, who is an Arkansas reporter. And she said that 20 years ago, when she was a reporter, Bill Clinton sexually assaulted her 3 times in an edit bay inside of her local news station. That he came in the first time and he engaged in some unwanted touching, that it escalated a second time, that the sitting governor of Arkansas came into the news station, did it a second time, and this is a very graphic and disturbing description of what he did. And then it happened a third time as well. She said she was young, she was scared, she didn't know what to do, but she asked to be removed from the reporting of Bill Clinton.
So in the background of all of this, you still have 21,050 emails coming from WikiLeaks that are revealing more and more as they're getting reported. You have FBI documents in this case where you are finding out more things behind the scenes about how the Clinton campaign and the Secretary of State then operated. And you have this Project Veritas tape, which has really taken a lot of attention and now goes all the way to the White House, with the White House reacting to it today.
The FBI documents in particular, which show that Undersecretary of State Patrick Kennedy was out there, according to the FBI at least, dealing with an agent saying, why don't you change the classification on that document in a way that would help Hillary? This is at a time when Hillary wasn't even the Secretary of State. This guy's supposed to represent us. He works for you. He's supposed to be looking out for your best interests, and instead he's trying to offer the FBI a bunch of carrots if they'll change the classifications on her undisclosed documents that they were going to have to give to the FBI in a way that wouldn't make her look bad.
And he obviously denies that and put out a statement.
And the FBI said, no, we're not doing it.
That's right. And this all is about Chris Wallace moderating this, trying to keep this bill on the tracks, on the different topics that you're going to talk about in the Talking Points.
That's right, guys, and we will be back with them in this hour. Thank you. Now, as advertised, the Talking Points memo. The debate topics. Our pal Chris Wallace has selected 6 areas of questioning for the spectacle in Vegas tonight. So let's run them down, analyze who has the advantage. First, debt and entitlements. Here, both Clinton and Trump have problems. For example, in order to make America great again, Trump has promised to rebuild the military, which will take a massive amount of tax money. But Trump also says he'll cut taxes, and that would slash money going to the federal government, at least until the economy picks up. Thus, the debt would get bigger, at least in the short term. So Donald Trump will have to be precise with his words, because Wallace will surely hone in on a spending and tax issue. On the Clinton front, she pretty much supports the spending vision of President Obama, who has run up more debt than any other president in history, and it's not even close. In addition, Mrs. Clinton would like the feds to run the entire health care system. I don't think she's going to say that, but certainly based on her history, that's her goal. Having the feds pay all the medical bills would be a colossal new entitlement and debt driver. So both candidates will be dancing on the first topic. Second, immigration. Here, Trump won the nomination largely on his tough guy approach. He has to echo that tonight, while at the same time showing at least some humanity. He needs to emphasize the benefits of ending immigration chaos. It will not be enough for Trump to say the Mexicans are going to pay for the border wall. He may believe that, but now it's become a cliche unless he provides the blank check or specifics. On the other side, with the WikiLeaks hack showing Hillary Clinton dreaming of open borders, that could make the issue a very tough one for her. Open borders would pretty much destroy our society, as tens of millions of poor people south of the border would pour in here. I mean, wouldn't you, if you were living in a Honduran shack? Third issue, the Supreme Court. Both candidates will be ready with names of judges the public doesn't know. Chris Wallace will most likely ask both to cite some court decisions they feel strongly about. Trump better be prepared for that. Then it's on to foreign hotspots. Be interesting to see how aggressive Chris Wallace is with Clinton on that subject, because she has problems. With the battle raging against ISIS in Mosul, Mrs. Clinton will be hard-pressed to defend President Obama removing all U.S. troops from Iraq while she was Secretary of State. Trump, of course, has no record to defend, but he should be more specific about his overseas vision, not just repeating the Iran nuke deal is bad, that I can tell you, over and over. Fifth topic is the economy. Here it's mostly BS. It's impossible for Americans to know who will improve the economy. While what talking points can tell you is that Trump believes in cutting taxes to stimulate growth, much like Ronald Reagan, while Clinton believes that big government projects should create momentum in the economy. Topics endless, goes round and round and round. Finally, Chris Wallace will ask about the character issue: who is fit to run the country? Here, things could get very nasty on both sides. Wallace is going to have his hands full with that. And believe me, the headlines tomorrow be all about the character issue. And that's a memo. Now for reaction, let's bring in Charles Krauthammer, who joins us from Washington. So please add to my wisdom, Charles.
Impossible, Bill. Not since King Solomon
Yes.
has so much wisdom been concentrated in one short period of time.
Thank you. Very
Look,
nice.
you're right about one thing for sure, which is that what will be talked about tomorrow is going to be the fitness and the character issue. It will probably drown out everything else. That's going to be the fireworks. And I think on the list that Chris put out, that's at the end of the list, which means people are going to have to wade through 75 minutes of issues, which they're far less interested in, to get to the hot stuff. Now, on the actual issues, I think the one thing that's most striking is the first one: debt and deficits and entitlements. If you're standing outside the country and you're looking in, and the question is, what is the greatest threat to the country going forward? It is, without a doubt, $20 trillion of debt, and the prospect of it increasing radically as interest rates recover, the boomers age, and the entitlements are out of control. This is clearly the problem of our time, and it is clearly something that neither candidate is addressing. This is quite remarkable because it overhangs us all. But Trump decided early on in the primary campaign that he was not going to be cutting taxes, which usually helps the rich more than everybody else, and at the same time asking Joe Sixpack to make concessions on Social Security. So he took it off the table early, and she's not interested in that at all, because Democrats
and Americans
don't care at all.
Americans don't want anything touched.
It's not an issue.
Okay.
The immigration one, I think, is really interesting because, contrary to sort of popular opinion, if you look actually at what the polls say, she has the advantage on immigration, remarkably. And even in the primaries, if you look at the exit polling, Trump did not do terribly well on immigration. He did really well on trade, but not immigration.
Well, let me stop you there, bro. He did well he did well with the core group that voted for him in the primaries. They want a secure border. But I'll submit to you that the reason Hillary Clinton still polls decently in immigration is because the press, by and large, didn't report the WikiLeaks hack about the open borders. They ignored it.
And that's
right.
And
but
that's
tonight,
what Trump has to do.
But Chris Wallace isn't going to ignore it. You know he's not. He's going to throw a direct question to Hillary Clinton about the WikiLeaks open border. I can almost guarantee he's going to do that. All right.
And Trump has to pivot,
pounce,
to emphasize that again and again. Now, she'll explain it away as a kind of metaphor or a dream, But nonetheless, that's a real opening.
It is. Now, if you were I'm going to tell everybody that Krauthammer and O'Reilly should be moderating at least one of these debates together, okay, together, because it's kind of like Starsky and Hutch. So anyway,
Well,
do you know who they are, by the way, Starsky and Hutch? Didn't you?
Oh, I
They had
do.
fast cars. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're going to ask a question about the character issue, this is, as you point out, this is going to be the star of the show. Give me one question you'd ask Trump and one question you'd ask Clinton.
Well, Hutch, what I would say is that for him, I think he's got to go. On Trump, you got to go directly after. Well, you could do two things. You go after the accusations. You talk about the new news, which is the 6 people who came out today on People magazine. Or you go, and I think I'd be more interested in this, the way that Trump appears to be challenging the legitimacy of our entire system by saying it's a fix. I know they can say the media bias, and that's what Pence, that's the way he gets out of it.
Yes, that's what he
But
says.
that is not what Trump is implying to his audience.
But that's not a character question, though. That's a campaign question.
It's a character question because this is a man who has a sense that he's losing, bringing the house down around him like Solomon. No, like Samson.
Yeah, Solomon
is you.
he got airtime at the top of the
Solomon
program.
is you,
Yeah, right.
you and Hutch together. Now, for her, it's got to
Yeah.
be the fact that she was called a congenital liar by Bill Sapphire 20 years ago in the New York Times, and the condition does not seem to have improved.
Okay, but you got to, I think Walls can't word the question on a guy who's been deceased for a while. I would ask this, and I want you to get your reaction to this. I said, listen, Secretary Clinton, there is a long history of you being involved with controversies, all right, emails, Benghazi. What is it about you that engenders this much scrutiny? I mean, why are you always under a cloud, in your opinion? Why? That's a good question, right?
Yeah, but I think what you'll get is the vast right-wing conspiracy.
But that would be a headline. If you got a vast right-wing conspiracies after me to get me, that would be a headline. That might even be whining.
I don't think she'll use the phrase. I was trying to be concise and speak in a sort of in a metaphor. She will say, people have been after me. Because I'm progressive, she'll talk about how she helps the children. She's always been for the children. She's challenged the status quo. She's the change agent her husband said she was. It's all nonsense. But I think the answer to that is a little too simple. I think you've got to go after you have to pull something right out of the recent WikiLeaks and hit her with it.
Okay, there's plenty of stuff to do, and I don't know if the children in Mosul are doing real well now, Charles. And that story, the civilian casualties in both Syria and Iraq, that has been ignored again by the American press and stems directly from the collapse of American security in that region. All right, good.
It also stems from the fact that the American people don't want to hear about it anymore.
Okay. But it's definitely a big issue because she was Secretary of State through all of those collapses.
Absolutely.
Next on the rundown, Austin Goolsbee, a Democrat, has some thoughts about the 6 topics tonight. Then later, big fallout from the Trump violence undercover sting. Apparently, the guy caught saying incriminating things on tape has visited the White House hundreds of times. The White House is forced to reply. We'll have the investigation up ahead.